Well, I figured I'd try this again because the last review that I did ended up getting restricted because of the videos that I used. I didn't know about that at the time, so instead I'm gonna use pictures. Hopefully it won't get restricted. Like I've said before, my opinions are my opinions, and my review may not be for everyone's cup of tea, but hopefully you enjoy it and find it insightful. I'm gonna be honest, I'm not a fan too much of the new Smurfs cartoon. I'm not a fan of the animation design. It looks kind of like a crossbreed of 2D and 3D animation, which kind of makes it look a little off. The movements are also wild and zany, like every cartoon and movie depiction now, with no individual style to it. Gargamel just also seems kind of out of place, like not only losing his hunchback, but also feeling like he's a little bit more idiotic in this cartoon adaptation. The stories themselves kind of feel that way. Another thing I don't really like is the new Mary Sue Smurfette. She seems more rude, pig-headed, and just uninteresting because she's a Mary Sue now. She just read a book and boom, she's instantly a karate master. I get their reasoning why, but they don't make it make sense. For example, she's now teaching them how to defend themselves when they were always defending her, but they kind of prove in every episode, getting away from Gargamel and danger, that they can take care of themselves. They don't need the Smurf food to take care of themselves. It's just a kind of cramming her way in there to have a more motivation than she did. And if they're following the comics more closely, she couldn't lift a finger before, and also her whole characterization was she didn't mind it. She was supposed to be a comical depiction of a stereotype of not only European women at the time, but of elf creatures. She was not supposed to be that pitiful of doing something. If they're following that, it kind of feels out of place for her to just now realize that she needs to do it. It's kind of good that they're giving her a better motivation, but they don't make it fit and feel sexist with the story. Just Mary suing her, being uninteresting, and showing up the men. That's another thing. They make the men inferior, less mature, less intelligent, less capable of spotting danger. Could they at least give an explanation, a good explanation, as to why she now feels she has to? While on the subject, they also favor the girl characters more in the show. Like, no wonder it was Poet who got the one word in one episode that no one could rhyme with to lose the competition. Or when Hefty and Scaredy were scared dressing up as girls, Hefty obviously had to say something sexist, like if it was a girl competition, they could win it. Or throw in the line at the end of the episode to not try and be a girl next time because not everyone can handle it, which wasn't even the point as to why they were doing it. They were doing it because they were afraid of Papa Smurf because they broke his telescope, not to prove something about being a girl. Or how Handy himself was sexist, saying that that Smurfette should be changing the diaper because it was a girl thing to do in Diaper Daddy. Or, of course, all four girls were able to kick all their butts while they were all hypnotized. There are two girls in the cartoon that I do like because they don't feel sexist, which is Smurf Meteorite and Smurf Begonia, who is the dim-witted version. This is because they weren't being sexist to show up men, like the other girls. I think a final note is also I'm not a fan of the acting in this show. At times it just feels like they're speaking their lines, not acting their lines, which kind of makes it feel a little, I don't know, it kind of makes it feel a little hard to get into because it doesn't feel believable. Another thing I think is also the fast pace of the stories. It feels like it just goes by at times really fast. Look, like I've said, my opinions are my own. If you like this show, more power to you. It just isn't a show for me, personally. This feels like a product of its time, and it feels going to be very dated. There's a reason why the Hanna-Barbera one was so loved and remembered. This one just feels like it's missing that fun, creativity, and spark that it used to have. Well, I'll go for now. Later.